It is interesting. We have found something called a DMF.
Yes, the DMF. Apparently, this is an interesting podcast back in the day.
Yes, I'm very aware of that. But why is it called the DMF?
I don't know. I think it's just called that. They just came up with a name for it.
Yeah, but
No, about nothing.
Well, apparently they're talking about wrestling on the show. Is that something that they did?
Yeah, apparently there were a lot of people that used to watch this thing where they would go out in these very skimpy outfits and fight, but they were oiled up. And apparently there was a thing called they would pin them with the 1, 2, 3. I don't know why they didn't do a 4 or 5 or 6.
That's a good question. I don't know. Well, let's see what this show is.
I think we shall.
It's the DMF, it's the DMF, the DMF. What's that called? Who knows what it's called? We got movies, wrestling, and current events. Listen to me say, welcome to the DMF. I am your host, Justin Yachts. This is episode... Let's start the show.
Welcome to the DMF. I am your host, Justin Yachts. This is episode 101, and this is season 2, and this is episode 1 of season 2, and this is the wrestling show. Welcome back, and let's begin the new season, as I'm going to talk about the goings-on in wrestling, including CM Punk and Daniel Bryan, or Bryan Danielson, as he'll soon become known to be seen as, and Money in the Bank, AEW, and WWE. So stay tuned. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So, let's talk about the big news. Apparently, Daniel Bryan is allegedly signed. At this time, from bodyslam.net, he is claiming that Daniel Bryan is already signed, that he asked to be able to perform in New Japan and other places, and to have creative input on his character, and to work less dates and still make the same amount of money. So that seems to be the things that he wanted, and it seems like AEW is willing to give him that. WWE, I didn't think was ever going to allow him to work anywhere else but WWE. That's just the way Vince McMahon is, but it seems like he's already on his way. We don't have a lot of reliable sources, but it's being printed everywhere. So, I mean, if it isn't, it's going to look really bad because everybody's covering it. It's in everything. Hopefully we'll have more details about that. But if that is the case, I think you want him on All Out. I know they already have a loaded card already, but I think him being on All Out will just bring them even a greater, larger, a larger number of buys than what they would get, because I think it's going to do well already. But with that, I think that will bring it over the top. And if you've already got him, you need to debut him now and have his first match at All Out. Now, the next show is not Fighter Fest. We've had the first 2 Fighter Fests. This is the Fight for the Fallen, and this will be in my hometown of Charlotte, North Carolina, so I will be able to give you a live feel of that. This is my first time going to an AEW show. I'm expecting a little bit of a mix between an ROH show and a little bit of WWE. some kind of a mix between those two, and I'm very excited. I've got, we've got the 10-man tag, we've got the New Japan match for the United States title, which could possibly be the Bullet Club. But the thing that makes me think that this could be Daniel Bryan's debut is they are saying that they're going to make an announcement of a new live event. I think they make that announcement and then the lights go out and we hear for the final countdown. Because on the indie scene, that was Daniel Bryan's music, the final countdown. And let's hope he hasn't forgotten that. But I don't think he has. I think he'll know to come out to that music. And I think the place will explode. Now, Charlotte, North Carolina is not ROH stomping ground, but when they came here, they always drew well. And a lot of, the hardest of the hardcore would go to those shows. And the hardest of the hardcore are going to be at this AEW show. It's not going to be a WWE audience. It's an AEW audience, which is a mix of ROH and some casuals. So I'm looking forward to, I don't know if he's going to be there, but if they do have him, I would put him there. Get him out there as soon as possible. He can only help ratings. He can only drive the show even more, and they need that. Now, the next thing that we now heard is that CM Punk is in talks for AEW. Now, remember, what did I say that I thought would have been really cool is if at All Out they trotted out both Samoa Joe, Daniel Bryan, and CM Punk at the show, but that's no longer a possibility because Samoa Joe is now back with NXT. But I don't think we really need the two. I think you bring Daniel Bryan as soon as possible, and then you save Punk for All Out, and you either open the show with it, or he comes out at the end of the show, or something like that. Maybe the ending of the show. You hit that music, and he just comes out. As soon as that music hits, the CM Punks, it's going to be just... Once Living Color's Cult of Personality hits, it will be pandemonium. He's in Chicago. It's the perfect place to debut him. If they want to do that. He could just come out and start the show. They could do so many different things. The great thing about AEW is they've got so many different options of where they can go and how they can do this. And I'm excited. I'm very excited because this has made me excited to be a fan again. So I think a lot of these things could happen. I'm not sure, but I think they're on their way. CM Punk's going to get the creative control he needs. Daniel Bryan's going to get the creative control he needs. He'll be able to go do New Japan, so he can do the Tokyo Dome, which I'm predicting Jay White wins the G1. Kenny Omega, Ibushi is a match. Okada versus Daniel Bryan. That's a match. And then I think Jay White comes out on night 2 and gets to settle the score. Also, Jay White could show up in Charlotte too. He could be the Bullet Club that interferes to help him get the IWGP US title back for I'm not quite familiar with this character. Let's see if I can pronounce his name. Hikuleo? Well, he's basically Ming Haku's son. One of the toughest men ever. He's tall, really tall. I see him winning. I see the Bullet Club interfering, and I see it being an amazing show. And I'm going to be there live, and I can't wait. I say, bring out Daniel Bryan. I'm biased, but what do I say? I want to see him. But if they want to hold him off, that's okay too. But I would bring back Daniel Bryan as soon as possible and anoint him. He comes out, he cuts the promo and says, Daniel Bryan is dead. I am now Bryan Danielson, who I really am. The American Dragon is back. Something to that effect that only Bryan Danielson can do. He's going to be Bryan Danielson. The American Dragon is here. And for all you ROH fans, you know what that means. I don't know. He could go back to using cattle mutilation as a finisher. I mean, he could do a lot more things down the road because he's not going to be bombarded with all the rules that WWE puts on their athletes, on their superstars, and forces them to make it so that they can't really make any new choices. They kind of just have to follow in. But I'm excited for Fight for the Fallen in Charlotte, North Carolina. That should be an amazing show. Punk coming in is great. Daniel Bryan coming in is great. These are great things. And when we come back, I'm going to talk about Money in the Bank. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So let's talk about Money in the Bank. This is the first pay-per-view back with fans. WWE. It's not a bad show. It wasn't bad. I thought Charlotte and Rhea Ripley had an amazing match. I don't agree with the finish of having Charlotte Flair win again, but it seems like they're now no longer counting the NXT title. So that if they want her to make 17 reigns or 18 reigns or however many reigns they're going to do, they're going to just fly through this because this is what they do. They don't have any foresight on how to do anything long term. So she's probably going to rack up as many wins as possible. But yeah, Rhea Ripley, they had a fantastic match. I was watching it and I was just like, this is amazing. Edge and Roman Reigns, that was another really good match. Roman Reigns is so into his character, and he's got the fans booing him. People were like, are they going to cheer him? Some people might cheer him, but no, most people are booing him and don't like him. He's done a great job of making himself a great heel. Edge was on the verge of winning when Seth Rollins, which we all knew was going to interfere, cost him the match. He cost him it once. We thought that was the end. He ended up kicking out. Then he cost it for him again, and that was the second spear. That was the fall of Edge to Roman Reigns. And then they battled out. Seth and Edge battled, and he got on the mic and he said, now the whole world can acknowledge me. And the music hit, and it's Cena. He comes out wearing his green shirt and, the jorts and everything. It feels like a costume now. I feel like John Cena's past that. He doesn't need to be doing this, but WWE is all about nostalgia, so that's how he's going to look. I would prefer him to just come out in like, a shirt and, tight pants or something. And kind of just faced him, but, that's what they want to do. So he came out and, confronted Roman Reigns. Nothing else more than that. It was a good surprise. It was a really cool surprise. I mean, I kind of figured he was on his way back, But you didn't know, and that was fun. A lot of people were hoping for Becky Lynch. She was not on the show. The women's Money in the Bank was won by Nikki Cross or Ash Cross or whatever we're calling her now. Men's Money in the Bank was won by Big E. That was a good win for him. Big E, I see him cashing in on Lashley. It looks like it's going to be Lashley versus Goldberg, and I could see Big E coming in and taking the title from Lashley. They could do that. But I thought that was a good choice. He's a good guy to put the Money in the Bank on. AJ and almost beat the Viking Raiders. Can't call them the Raiders. We can't call them the Viking. I don't know what they. Remember, they wanted to call them the Viking Experience. What a dumb name that was. What else happened on here? We had no Bianca Belair. It was we had the women's match. I feel like I'm missing something. What am I missing? That's the thing about WWE. You never, you always feel like you don't exactly know exactly what you saw. Was it as good as Money in the Bank 2011? No, not by a long shot. It's not CM Punk in that. Oh, the Usos won the tag titles from Ray and Dominic. Wow, they got such an amazing reign. Yeah, that's about it. That was Money in the Bank. It was a good match. Flowed fast. Nice to have fans back and reacting to things. And they set up a lot of good matches, and that's what we got for Money in the Bank. There's not much I can really do. Drown on and on. If you haven't seen it, it's a good show. My favorite match was Charlotte versus Rhea Ripley. Even though I think it does a lot of damage to Rhea Ripley because they haven't protected her, and it looks like, hey, I won. Now the fans are back. So, I don't know. That was a little upsetting for me. And when we come back, I'm going to talk about AEW Dynamite. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. AEW Dynamite, Fight for the Fallen 2. I'm actually doing this Wednesday night, so I'm giving you my thoughts right after that. As I said, I am off for the Fight for the Fallen to see AEW for the first time. This was great. We had Andrade cut a promo, and Chavo is now like his spokesman guy. Good choice. And then we had the Death Triangle come out, Pac and Penta and Phoenix and the other guy. I can't remember the other guy's name. We found out that Malachi Black versus Cody Rhodes will happen not next week, but the week after at AEW Homecoming. Lance Archer beat John Moxley in an amazing match at IWGP US title. They had a Texas death match, which is basically a last man standing match in some ways. And he ended up getting chokeslammed through a barbed wire, through 2 barbed wire tables. And it was a good way to end it. And then it looks like Hikuleo from the Bullet Club is who Lance Archer is facing next week. And as I said, I think the Bullet Club are going to interfere. We had Moxley because, what's his name? Doc Gallows fought Kazarian, and they kind of beat him up. And then they were about to do some more damage to him as Kenny Omega and Don Callis were out there, and then all of a sudden the music hit, and here came Hangman Page, and he was fighting everybody, and they made the announcement that the 10-man tag will be, excuse me, but it was a really good show. I liked what we did. Britt Baker versus Nyla Rose. I thought that was a good match. Sloppy in some points, but really good. And Britt, won, and that was the right thing to do. Jericho had his first labor of Jericho, and he faced Shawn Spears, and he ended up winning. With the Judas effect, we had Sammy Guevara come out and help him out a little bit, and then MJF was on commentary, and he said, "If you do that again, the labors of Jericho are off." And so he announced the next labor of Jericho would be Nick Gage from basically CCW. And he came out, and they're going to be in a no DQ match. And then later on in the show, Jericho said that if he's going to be facing Nick Gage, then he's not going to be Jericho, the Le Champion. He is going to become Jericho, the Painmaker, the New Japan version of Jericho. So that'll be exciting. That's in Charlotte, North Carolina, so I'm excited to see that. Darby Allin defeated Wheeler Yuta. That was a good match. And then Butcher attacked Orange Cassidy. I kind of don't want to run through the show, but these were all really good things. I mean, there's nothing else I can do but say, I mean, the whole show, from top to bottom, Orange Cassidy got his win over Blade, and then he hit him with the brass knucks after the match, and they took the brass knucks. So I think the brass knucks is now a thing for Orange Cassidy. And it's a cool thing to play. Now he's acquired a weapon, and yeah, I thought this was good. Next week, we got Chris Jericho versus Nick Gage. We got FTR versus Santana and Ortiz. We got Christian Cage and Jurassic Express versus Party and Angelico. We've got Archer versus Hikelio, or I can't pronounce his name. We got the Elimination Tag, the Elite versus the Dark Order. And then Tony Khan makes an announcement on a new live event. And then in another week, they've got Cody Rhodes versus Malachi Black. Really good stuff. It's going to be a packed show. I can't wait. I'm excited. They did a little promo with the FTR and Santana and Ortiz. And Santana and Ortiz, he pulled out like pictures and said, this is what my mother had to deal with. She had to fight slum landlords in court just so we could have a place to live. And FTR were basically like, all I care about is, God, wrestling, and myself. It was great. So I can't wait. I can't wait. This is really fun. Really fun stuff. And AEW's, they're doing everything right now. Now, hopefully they can build on this momentum. If they get CM Punk and Daniel Bryan, I think that'll take them to 1.5 or 1.9. And they can start, really kicking in. And then we'll really have a wrestling war. Because Vince is not going to be happy with how they fit. Because they're planning long term. They're doing a great job. And I'm excited. So that's AEW. When we come back, I'll talk about WWE. Okay, so let's talk about WWE. Well, Raw was better this week, but in some ways I feel like it's still the same show. It opened with John Cena, and that was kind of the highlight of the show. And then the ending of the show was the best part. Some people don't like that Ash Cross, is that what we're calling her now? Nikki Cross, now it's Ash Cross. I forget what the ASH stands for, but she cashed in the Money in the Bank to defeat Charlotte after Charlotte and Rhea Ripley had a hard-hitting match, and Rhea Ripley just basically laid her out and threw her in the ring so that Ash could pin Charlotte. Also, we found out that Charlotte's title wins no longer, the NXT runs no longer matter. Now let's get into the things that just absolutely boiled my brains out. I could not believe what I was watching. Karrion Kross versus Jeff Hardy. Karrion Kross comes out. His music has changed. There's no black and white on the on the picture. His entrance is usually shot in black and white. There's no black and white. There's no Scarlet. He feels like a completely different character. He's got this, end of days type feel to his music and stuff that looks like something out of when Baron Corbin first came in. And he loses to Jeff Hardy. Now, Jeff Hardy came out to No More Words, the theme that we've all been waiting for. Unfortunately, Jeff Hardy now has COVID, so this win means absolutely nothing as he's going to be gone. So they defeated Karrion Kross in a 2-minute match, and Jeff Hardy can no longer even be there. It was meaningless. It didn't do anything. I felt it was foolish. It was foolish. It was the wrong way to go about it, and I just can't believe it. They made NXT look just horrible by having him just lose like that to Jeff Hardy. It doesn't make him look good. The other thing that happened on this show that I liked, well, I kind of liked is Keith Lee returned. Oh, but he loses. So that Lashley can set up a match with Goldberg. Goldberg shows up, and it's going to be Goldberg and Lashley, apparently at SummerSlam, which we all knew was going to happen. But, I think most of us were hoping for a return of Brock Lesnar, but Brock Lesnar seems to be happy just doing whatever and not really having to care where things go. So that was Raw. Now let's talk about SmackDown. So we had Roman Reigns cut a promo at the end of the show calling out Cena. He said that Cena is basically like missionary position in sex. That was a good line. And then the show began with Cena coming out. I didn't really watch Carmella versus Bianca Belair. It looked like a fine match, but it just didn't do anything for me. It was kind of a passable show, but Cena coming out was good. He cut a nice promo. I feel like this nostalgia run is going to run its course if they keep just driving it into the ground. But I like the fact that he wants to face Roman Reigns. They're giving him like an objective, something that he wants to do. And Roman Reigns is kind of ducking him. And then Finn Balor came out, and Roman Reigns accepted Finn Balor's challenge. So that's where it looks like we're going. And I think that's about it for this first episode of the wrestling show. I want to say thank you for listening. As always, you can find me at Justin Yance. And I will see you next time on the DMF.